Yo, it's your man with the plan, Lars, with something a little different. You know, I've been doing videos for a second, and I was like, you know what? I feel like telling the story on my channel. And I was like, you know what? We're going to start off with a light one. I want to talk about the time I plan to steal something in my childhood, and it all started when I was in third grade. So, third grade's a really memorable place for most people. Most people go back to that place and remember pretty much almost everything that happened. Everybody remembers and loves their third or fourth grade teacher. This everything about third and fourth grade defines so much of what you are. I don't know why, it just is something about that. That's a crucial moment in third or fourth grade. So I had this teacher, and I'm gonna call her Miss L. Miss L. So I was in Miss L's class, and me and Miss L are always tight. Like, we were just as tight as like best friends were. It of course, don't get twisted. It never went farther than that. It was just best friends. We were tight, and you know, I was in her class doing my thing, and I overheard one of my classmates talk about a rare card he found in a pack of Yu-Gi-Oh pack, I guess. That's what I call it, Yu-Gi-Oh pack. And you know, like me, I'm like, okay, I gotta figure out this because I was a big fan of Yu-Gi-Oh, and just to like, just to show you how much of a nerd well, just to show you what I look like. I was like a African American boy that was large on a fast food menu, not extra large or extra large, but just large on a fast food menu scale. And I was into cards, anime, video games, anything nerdy you can think of. I was into it. And so, it's just a little nerdy, semi-fat boy. Came up to this boy I'm going to call CJ. Yeah, CJ. I call him CJ. So CJ knew I had a whole bunch of cards and rare cards. So CJ was like, okay, I really don't want this card. I cannot use it to go against anybody. So CJ made a proposition that he basically said that I heard you have this Dark Magician Girl card, and really, I think that's a cool card, so I'll give you this card if you get the Dark Magician Girl card. And I was like, oh no, you can't do that. It's like, because that back in the day, every nerdy boy had a waifu. They watched TV, the animated TV, and that was Dark Magician Girl for me. And I was like, okay, I can give up my waifu. But this card was really cool looking, and to show you what time this card came out, it was around the time that Yugioh GX came out, for those who know. And that was about like 2005, 2006, I think, or a little bit earlier or later. And that was a series that people in America were just about. It was not like it was good or bad in America. It was just In Japan, it was a lot better from what I hear and from what I watched too. But I digress. It was a card that came out and it looked cool. I had all these Elemental Hero cards, which were like the new main characters cards. And I was like, okay, I want to use these cards, but I had no fusion monsters, none whatsoever. So he came by with this card, and I was like, okay, I gotta get this card from him, but I'm not about to give up my Dark Magician Girl for this dude's card. So I had to come up with a plan, and it was a very simple plan, honestly, after I think back on it. But my plan was to ask him to have the classic elementary excuse of promising to give somebody something way later in time. It's like in elementary school, that's like the ultimate like bond of trust. It's like when you're a young boy and somebody asks you, can I trade with you, but can I hold on to this for now and then trade with you later? It's like when you're a young boy, that's like your friendship and your trust right there. Is like when somebody says that, like not just anybody. You can't. That's like a bond of trust right there when somebody comes by and says, "Oh, I'll give it to you later," because if you gave back whatever you were supposed to promise them that you were gonna give them back at a later date, you're a god in middle school. Like, you're the most trustworthy person ever. So, unlike what I just said, I was a very trustworthy person overall because I always did what I was told. I always did the good thing. But that time, I decided my plan that I'll say I'll give him the card in 3 weeks. And my plan was simple. Um, so, a week of school, so he'd be busy with school until spring break, because spring break was coming up. So I was like, okay, spring break's gonna come up, and then spring break's gonna come by. He's gonna be partying, doing whatever kids in third or fourth grade do, and just party or whatever. He's going to forget about the card, and just for extra measure, I made sure, because I said it was 3 weeks. I made sure the week after that week, I'm not gonna. I didn't promise to give him that card, because then he could have remembered right as he came back, but then he would have been bogged down by school when he came back. So I was like, I was a devious child. So I was like, okay, that's enough. That's enough time for him to forget that we made this promise. So the time went by, and I got a little anxious because I felt bad for taking his card. And honestly, he did forget for a nice second, for like a month or two. But then he reminded himself, and his friends reminded him what I did, and he was like, "Okay, dude, where's my card at?" And I was like, "Okay, I'll give you two." And I totally forgot. I give you back the card in 2 or 3 weeks. Okay, CJ, I got you. And he's like, "Okay, whatever, dude." And I was like, "Okay, yes." So just give him 2 weeks. He's gonna forget. So he came 2 weeks. He's like, on the exact same day, 2 weeks later, he was like, "Okay, where's my card at?" I'm like, "Okay, dude, seriously, I have something going on in my life. I really can't do it right now." I was like, "Give it to me later." It was like almost close to the end of school, honestly. And so he was like, it's a three striker rule. 3 strikes, you're out rule. It's like, even as kids, that rule applied. And it's like, you could tell in his face, it's like, bruh, this boy is just playing me like a fool. And I was like, oh my God, I'm sorry. Don't look at me like that. But you know what? He let it slide. He was like, okay, have the card. I don't care anymore. It was at that point where he was just like, I just don't care anymore. So I was like, yes, but I felt kind of bad. So I took the card. Is the card I actually still have? And so, about closer to the end of the school year, like really close, he got one of the rarest cards ever. It was a Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon, which, for those who don't know, I'm a big Blue Eyes fan when I was playing Yu-Gi-Oh, and I still am. And that card was like the one card I could never get, no matter how many packs I opened, no matter what I did. It was Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon, and he had a copy of it, and he was like, "Okay, I'm about to give this out to anybody who has this card." I was like, "Ooh, I have that card," and he was like, "Yeah, I'm not going to trade with you though." I was like, "Why not?" Because he was like, "Bruh, are you serious?" And I was like, "No, I don't know what you're talking about." Because I was acting like he didn't know that I took his card still. Like, even though he gave it back to me, but I was acting like he forgot it. I was keep on hoping over this whole course of story that he'll forget about this damn card. He's like, "Bro, I'm not trading with you. I'll trade with this dude." And I was like, "No." So he gave that card to the other dude, and I was like, okay, I learned my lesson. I can't be destroying and burning bridges just because for selfish desires and because I want something. It's like, it's just a bad thing to do. And that was like the defining moment that changed a lot of, I don't know, character flaws I probably had when it came down to like honesty, because it was just like, it just hits you in the face that you aren't supposed to burn your bridges down. And it's like, no matter, even if you're at a bad job, like even to this day, if you have a bad job, don't just leave without telling your boss, or unless he's just a complete a-hole. Like 99% complete a-hole, do not leave your job without telling your boss. Don't do something without anybody's permission when you know that you probably would need a permission normally. And just overall, just don't be tricking or lying to people, because you never know when you have to come back or you want to ask that person for something else, and they'll completely just curve you if they have the opportunity, because you completely burn that trust down in the beginning. And many people don't understand that. So the moral of the story is, don't burn your bridges and don't lie, steal, cheat unless you have to. That's what I learned at that moment. And I hope you guys understand. And this is the end of my story. So I hope you guys liked that little story. It was a little quick and I might be a little rusty. I haven't told a story in a while, but you know what? I think that was a good attempt. And if you guys like my content and also like my regular gaming content, leave me a thumbs up and or a thumbs down. Doesn't matter which one. It just helps to know you guys are watching. And also hit the subscribe button and that little bell icon to join the rebellion, because I'm a lonely best of any friends. And I will see you guys in the next video and or stream. Bye bye.